making an impact, communicate, connect, confidence. And for this, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Murali Iyer, who's the CFO at IKEA India. Giving a brief introduction, he brings with him over 22 plus years of successful track record in financial leadership and having worked with Volvo Group in India and Sweden in multiple roles. With keen business acumen and curiosity to learn, his experience across geographies and cultures has enabled businesses to overcome challenges for inclusive growth. Currently, as CFO, he leads IKEA's India CFO function with the purpose of profit, leading the finance controlling, business navigation, legal, tax, customs, etc. With this, let's welcome Murali with a big round of applause.
Can you hear me? Good evening. Am I the one stopping you guys from all that's being arranged? Am I the last speaker? I don't know what all she spoke about. All I know that I lost my hair in this whole journey of 22 years. I'm glad I lost it in probably 10 years ago because given what this journey has been, we sometimes underestimate. It's very fascinating when you're young, and I still hate my friend for doing this to me. It was, we were sitting, we both just got into our jobs, and sorry, there'll be no presentation if you're looking for a presentation. So we were both just 6 months into our jobs, and we were sitting in the coffee day, and he asked me, what do you want to do 15 years from now? I said, you gone mad? Just got our jobs. I barely can think 15 months ahead. You're talking about 15 years from now. Pradeep being Pradeep was, never gives up, pushes. So I blurted out, without knowing what the consequences would be, that, yeah, probably want to be a CFO. It didn't matter what institution, what size. For me, I thought I'd enjoy the responsibility of it. In Hindi they say, us din keeda, somewhere it got stuck. That started eating my hair probably as well. And from then on, the journey began. So the topic as such, all I do today is to share with all of you on how I have seen this part of the journey, what my experience has been, and how we can, as finance professionals, in whatever phase and whatever stage we are, share and bring value to the business. Sorry, I will keep going a bit back and forth to the notes that I scribbled. So there are 5 things generally that I work with. It's not something that I did it by myself. It's something that I picked up some years ago when I was reading one of the books. It's a very nice book if anybody wants to read. It's called Conquering the Chaos by 𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏, the former Microsoft CEO. Very, very well written and very relevant for all of us, considering the context in which we operate. The first is, as professionals and as leaders, is to have the ability to have the agility in learning. So we have, I still remember way back, Geeta was my first boss who recruited me. I still fondly meet her. Once in a while, I keep pulling a leg. So 1 week into joining Volvo, she said, I joined as a trainee, and she said, Murali, you need to pick 10 random items from the inventory and go and do a cycle count. I said, okay. I went without knowing what it was, because I really didn't know what cycle count meant. And 2 hours it took for me to walk around the whole factory and secure that the 10 items matched. She made me do that for 2.5 years, every single week, without missing one single week. 1 week I missed, she'd add the 10 and make it 20. right? Very sweet of her. I keep reminding her of what she did. Other than the number of steps, which we never counted at those days, but it helped me in one very big way, is to be very close to the business. I knew what a flange nut was. I knew what a bogie anchorage was. I knew what a rear axle was, what a front axle was, what's an 8x4 truck, what is a 6x4 truck. And since predominantly my first 3 years was spent in product costing, it was fascinating to see how a truck gets built up. The second big thing that it did to me was I actually got closest to the people in operation, because I would go to the line, count with them, and they'd laugh at me when I'd say, is this the bogie anchorage? And they'll crack a joke around it. But I eventually had such great friendship that risk that, sorry, I forget your name, Hari, right? Yes. Just that Hari mentioned about, risk came automatically to my attention, right? Because people shared. And that's why when I say learning agility, what I mean is to be close to business. I've been in IKEA for just 1 year. It's been 15 months. It's been a crazy experience. Don't quote me outside. Okay. It's taken everything out of me. I'm still glad my wife is still around, holding on the fort. But there's a fascinating concept that we have in our organization, and it's led in forefront by our CEOs. Every year, at least twice, they are in the store, on the ground, either selling food behind the counters, or selling beds, selling pots, pans, everything. And that is why I reiterate that having the agility to learn, and especially in an environment that we operate, you can use those fancy terms called VUCA or blah blah, whatever it is. In that world that we operate in, it becomes extremely essential that we have a very solid understanding of the business, because agility in learning will only help you understand the business and tackle situations. And especially in countries like us, where in very next day, one morning, you could end up with a DRI officer sitting. How many of you have had that lovely experience? None? Good for you. One, okay. Then you know what it is. It's worse than getting interrogated by CBI. Yeah, I'm not kidding. They put you in a dark, small office, and they question as if you've committed the worst crime in the world. So day one could be that. Day two could be, somebody passes away, some well-known figure, and you have a strike. Somebody's breaking the windows in your shop, in the store. And you would wonder why that is the CFO's problem. Because risk is sitting with us, which means consequently safety security is sitting with me, and consequently I need to be prepared. And all this preparation, I can't underline more how much it comes by showing and developing the skill of learning every day. What is not important is what she talked about. All the 23 years of mine, with all humility, and I continue to be a student of finance and business. And that's what I really urge, and is the first pillar that I would leave you guys with. Sorry. The second one is what I call people. So we have this thing in IKEA, and these are stories that have been passed to me. I know the first CEO of IKEA in India. His name is 𝗺𝗺. He is Spanish, and today he is the group CFO. So we know each other reasonably well, and he always has lovely anecdotes to pass on to me once in a while. Very soft-spoken, but extremely, extremely strong. in his communication, and very powerful speaker. So one of the things he says is, Murali, whenever you want to solve a problem or whenever something comes to you, put the people in the center. The moment you put people in the center, whether it is your team, whether it is a consumer, and look at it from that perspective, you would understand and come with the best solutions. And why this is important is, so he gives an example that way back when 𝗖𝐼𝐺 was planning to set up shop in India, typically we could have gone to consultants, McKinsey's of the world, the Bain's of the world, and if somebody is there, no hard feelings, we didn't come to you. What they did was, and I was not part of this journey, unfortunately, but they still do it, so I'm hoping that I will one day be able to push myself and get to that part of the journey. So what they did was, they visited 1,000 homes, practically went to each and every room, understood how people live, because we wanted to give, our motto is to make a better life at home, right? And with that fundamental can only come by going into people's homes. And people welcomed us, right from people who had very humble livings. We've gone and visited houses of people who have had, who are, people who collect this trash and then are doing business out of that small trash. They have a very humble home that they have made. So from there to the fancy houses of, 10 bedrooms or 6 bedrooms or whatever. Because the idea is, how do you live? What I'm trying to say is that you need to put people in the center of whatever you do, and you will find most of the answers. Because if you solve a people problem, you probably have a business idea already. Right? So that's the second part that I wanted to talk about. Then there is another part which is connected to the people part, which is the emotional intelligence part. This is 3 months into my job in IKEA. We were sitting and discuss. So our business cycle period is between September to August. So we run in that cycle. Don't ask me why, but we run that cycle. I think it's got to do with the European vacation time. So it matches that calendar for them. So we were sitting in a kickoff, let's say business plan kickoff session. And there were about 200 people from across the country who'd come, leaders from our own organization. And then suddenly we start to hear a murmur. And everybody's talking little, small things. It's okay. Then I get pulled out in the break. Me, my CEO, and my communication heads pulls us out, and she says, there is a tweet going on in Twitter, and the tweet is about a customer claiming to have had a racial discrimination in one of our stores. I don't know if any of you had or remember or had been part of that tweet. So now we are a new organization in the country. Remember, we are an old organization worldwide, but we are a new organization in the country. Secondly, our management team has gone through a reshuffle in the sense that we are the second, let's say if you had a first generation of managers in the management team who set up and started things, we are the second generation. So we are also new from our own dynamics and as well as from handling the country. So it starts to blow up and people are feeling the pressure because we are a very loved brand. I hope you recognize that. But it also has a flip side to it, which means that anything that happens with our brand can be very quickly gets multiplied. And it so happened that KCR's office tweeted this. So you know where it happened, right? That, oh, IKEA, please take care. You cannot be discriminatory and all that stuff. So we did our checks. We had to calm the session going on. So that happened, that continued, but we looked at our incidents. There was all clarity. This is a normal process. There's nothing. We reached out to the customer. We tried to explain. It took us some time and everything. But why am I sharing this? It's because I want to talk about the emotional intelligence piece involved in our jobs. You see, what happened was that whole weekend, my CEO, myself, my communications head, and a few others were all disturbed, right? And I sat back on that Sunday evening, and the tweets died down. You know, it went up. We live in that world, right? Everybody tweets, and then next day there is some other tweet, and everybody follows that tweet. This tweet is gone. So it tweet died down, but it hassled all of us, right? And the reason was we were not emotionally intelligent. So the next Monday morning, I reached out to my CEO and I said, we cannot do it this way. What we need to do is we need to disconnect. We need to not panic, and we set up a process around it. And this is very important because many times when problems come to us, and this is the communicate part, right? One of the topics, points that they talk about, is that we tend to look at who's the problem. And you discuss the who rather than the problem. So the problem has become 10 times bigger than what it is. So my general notification to myself is anytime a problem comes, what's the problem? Not who's the problem, right? The who will come to later, right? Because if the what is easily solved, the who, there is no who. Everybody is doing with a good intention. You have to trust, right? And you start with that trust. And that's why I reiterate the need for having emotional intelligence to handle and communicate well in our day-to-day life as leaders. Sorry, I'm going back and forth because just so that I don't miss what I have to share. The third one is entrepreneurship. Everybody talks about it. How many of us do really believe that we are entrepreneurial in our job? Right. 2 hands. 3 hands, 4 hands, okay. Let's say 5 hands, 100 people. What's the problem? Why do you think you cannot be entrepreneurs in your job? Right. To me, entrepreneurship is the ability to challenge, the ability to take the initiative, right? Be able to take that, have that drive to treat every problem as if it's a problem in your own business and to approach it that way. And the reason this is extremely important that we do this is because only then will you really add value to the organization. Otherwise, all we are trying to do is to fix issues and, you know, conveniently either put the issue to some other department or give it away to somebody else. And that will never help us create value in the organization. So inculcating the entrepreneurship quality in all of us, in any problem that we approach, is extremely essential. Do you agree? Silence. You don't have to shake your head because I asked. Right. Then, 2 more points and I'm done. But the 2 most important parts of my journey that I like to leave with you guys. One is the single most important quality, if I can leave with all of you today, is the quality or ability to be courageous. What do we mean by being courageous? It's you. I was probably 9 years into my job in Volvo. I was in Sweden then. I was in a pretty normal role in financial reporting. And out of the blue, my boss comes and says, her boss wants to meet me. And I said, okay, this is not sounding good because, and I tried to ask her, is there anything that I need to prepare? She said, no, he wants to meet. I said, okay, fine, let's go. So I meet him, and we had just got into a joint venture with Volvo and Eicher had got into a joint venture. It's called 𝗙𝗵 Commercial Vehicles, one of the very good successful joint ventures that we have. It's running out of the Delhi office in Gurgaon. So that had just been concluded, and what happened was, typically as it happens in joint venture agreements, you negotiate positions, right? And so the CEO was going to be there from their side, the CFO was from their side, the production head and everything from their side. Long story short, Volvo had requested for a head of financial reporting and deputy CFO role. And Mikkel said, I think you should take it. I looked at Mikkel and I said, you can't be kidding me, right? I had 9 years of experience. I'm going to be put in a responsibility of where the organization was going to invest close to about $1 billion. And the person that I was going to report to was going to be from the joint venture partner, Mr. Vinod Agarwal, and who is currently the CEO of the organization. Mikkel said, it'll work, just go, take it. I had zero courage, trust me. But that 2 years that I spent with Mr. Agarwal, and I'm still fortunate that I did it, I wish it was longer than 2 years, has taught me so much resilience and so much in willpower that if, as 𝗙𝗵 Parekh famously said, the softest pillow that I can sleep with in the night is of a clear conscience, right? If your conscience is clear and you have the courage, you can take on any challenge and you can deliver. And that's the way that you will add significant value to any organization, any role that you take. And it doesn't matter what role, you have to have the courage. The last point, and I heard the bell already, is having a higher purpose. So long back, I remember discussing with one of my managers, should I do an MBA, should I not do an MBA? I'm a cost accountant by qualification. I'm not even a chartered accountant. No offense to chartered accountant, but I'm a cost. But I said, should I do an MBA? So he turned to me and asked, why do you want to do an MBA? I said, hopefully it'll help me get ahead in my career. I can grow faster. He said, you come back to me in a week and tell me what's your purpose. And I said, I don't know. I came back to him. I really said, I want to be a CFO. That's all I know. And he said, if that's the purpose, you don't need an MBA because you are getting enough experience. You are only going to waste your money. Don't do it. I stuck to it and I didn't do it. Right? So why this bit of the story is, he left me with a question which 𝗭𝗺, who I mentioned, framed it very well, is what do you want your legacy to be? Right? It's not about career, it's not about how much money you make, it's not about what big size of house you, because all this will get equalized at some point of time. Somebody will grow faster, somebody will go a little slower. But in the end, right, it's it's a balance sheet, it will balance, and you will, I also believe that, you get what you deserve, what you put in, right? So for me, I want you all to leave you all with this question. Decide for yourself what you want your legacy to be. Once you know what that you want to be, and once you work towards that, you will automatically add significant value to anything that you do. Thank you.